Hi guys, I'm back. Today I'm going to read Isaiah 11-16, Proverbs 30, and Psalm 6. Let's get started. There shall come forth a shoot from the stump of Jesse, and a branch from his roots shall bear fruit. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. And his delight shall be in the fear of the Lord. He shall not judge by what his eyes see, or decide disputes by what his ears hear. But with righteousness he shall judge the poor, and decide with equity for the meek of the earth. He shall strike the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the bread of his lips he shall kill the wicked. And righteousness shall be the belt of his waist, and faithfulness the belt of his loins. The wolf shall dwell with him, and the leopard shall lie down with the young goat, and the calf and the lion and the fattened calf together. And the little child shall lead them. And the cow and the bear shall graze, and the young shall lie down together, and the young shall eat straw like the ox. And the nursing child shall play over the hole of the curb, and the weaned child shall put his hand over the adder's den. And he shall not hurt or destroy in all my holy mountain. For the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. In that day the root of Jesse, who shall stand as a signal for the peoples, of him as shall the nations inquire, and his resting place shall be glorious. In that day the Lord will extend his hand yet a second time to recover the remnant that remains of his people, from Assyria, from Egypt, from Paphros, from Cush, from Elam, from Shinar, from Hamath, and from the coastlands of the sea. He will raise a signal for the nations, and will assemble the banished of Israel, and gather the dispersed of Judah, and the four corners of the earth. And the jealousy of Ephraim shall depart, and those who harass Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not be jealous of Judah, but Judah shall not harass Ephraim. And they shall swoop down on the shoulder of the Philistines in the west, and together they shall plunder the people of the east. And they shall put out their hand against Edom and Moab, and the Ammonites shall obey them. And the Lord will utterly destroy the tongue of the sea of Egypt, and will wave his hand over the river, and with scorching breath and strike it into 7 channels. And he will lead people across in sandals, and there will be a highway from Assyria, for the remnant that remains of his people, as there was for Israel when they came up from the land of Egypt. He will say in that day, I'll give thanks to you, O Lord, although you were angry with me, your anger turned away, that you might comfort me. Behold, God is my salvation, and I will trust, and I will not be afraid. For the Lord God is my strength and my song, and he has become my salvation. With joy you draw water on the wells of salvation, and you will say in that day, give thanks to the Lord, call upon his name, make known his deeds among the peoples, proclaim that his name is exalted. Sing praises to the Lord, for he has done gloriously. Let this be made known in the whole earth. Shout and sing for joy, O inhabitant of Zion, for great is your midst, and is the Holy One of Israel. And the oracle concerning Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos saw, on a bare hill raise a signal, cry aloud to them, and wave the hand for them to enter the gates of the nobles. I myself have commanded my consecrated ones, and have summoned my mighty men to execute my anger. I am proudly exalting ones. The sound of a tumult is on the mountains, as of a great multitude. The sound of an uproar of kingdoms, of nations gathering together. Lord of hosts is mustering a host for battle. They come from a distant land, from end of the heavens, the Lord and the weapons of his indignation, to destroy the whole land. Wail, for the day of the Lord is near, as destruction from the Almighty will come. Therefore all hands will be feeble, and every human heart will melt. They will be dismay, pangs and agony will seize them. They will be in anguish, like a woman in labor. They will look aghast at one another. Their faces will be aflame. Behold, the day of the Lord comes, cruel, with wrath and fierce anger, to make the land a desolation, and to destroy its sinners from it. For the stars of the heavens and their constellations will not give them their light. The sun will be dark at its rising, and the moon will not shed its light. And I will punish the wicked well for its evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will put an end to their pomp of the arrogant, and lay low the pompous pride of the ruthless. I will make people more rare than fine gold, and mankind than the people gold of fear. Therefore I will make the heavens tremble, and the earth will be shaken. out, shaken out of its place, and the wrath of the Lord of hosts in the day of his fierce anger, and like a hunted gazelle, or like sheep with none to gather, each will turn to his own people, and each will flee to his own land. Whoever is found will thrust through, and whoever is caught will fall by the sword. Their infants will be dashed in pieces before their eyes. Their houses will be plundered, and their wives ravished. I am stirring up the Medes against them, who have no regard for silver, and do not delight in gold. And their bows will slaughter the young men, and they will have no mercy on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes will not pity children in Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, like the splendor and pomp of the Chaldeans. They will be like Sodom and Gomorrah, and God overthrew them. They will never be inhabited or lived in for all generations. No Arab will pitch his tent there. No shepherds will take their flocks lie down there. Wild animals will lie down there, and their houses will be full of howling creatures. There ostriches will dwell, and there wild goats will dance. Hyenas will cry in its towers, and jackals in the pleasant palaces. Its time is close at hand, and its days will not be prolonged. For the Lord will have compassion on Jacob, and will again choose Israel, and will set them in their own land. And sojourners will join them, and will attach themselves to the house of Jacob. And the peoples will take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel will possess them in the Lord's land, as male and female slaves. They will take captive those who are their captives, and rule over those who oppress them. And the Lord has given you rest from your pain and turmoil, and the hard service with which you were made to serve. You will take up this taunt against the king of Babylon, how the oppressor has seized, and insolent fury seized. The Lord has broken the staff of the wicked, the scepter of rulers, that struck the peoples in wrath with unceasing blows, that ruled the nations in anger with unrelenting persecution. The whole earth is at rest and quiet. They break forth into singing. The cypresses rejoice at you, the cedars of Lebanon sing, saying, Since you are laid low, no woodcutter comes up against us. The shore beneath is stirred to meet you when you come. It rouses the shades to greet you, all who are leaders of the earth. It raises from their thrones all who are kings of the nations. All of them will answer and say to you, You too have become as weak as we. You have become like us. Your pomp is brought down to show. The sound of your harp. Maggots are laid as a bed beneath you, and worms are your covers. How you are fallen from heaven, O day star, son of dawn. How you are cut down to the ground, you who laid the nations low. You said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven. Above the stars of God, and will set my throne on high. I will stand on the mount of assembly, and the far reaches of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, and I will make myself like the Most High. But you are brought down to Sheol, into the far reaches of the pit. And those who see you will stare at you and ponder over you. Is this the man who made the earth tremble, and who shook kingdoms, who made the world like a desert, and overthrew its cities, who did not let his prisoners go home? And all the kings of the nations lie in glory, each in his own tomb. But you are cast down, away from your grave, like a loathsome branch, clothed with the slain, those pierced by the sword. And you go down to the stones of the pit, like a dead body trampled underfoot. You will not be joined with them in burial, because you have destroyed your land. You have slain your people. May the offspring of evildoers nevermore be named. Prepare slaughter for his sons, because of the guilt of their fathers. Lest they rise and possess the earth, and fill the face of the world with cities. I will rise up again, declares the Lord of hosts, and will cut off from Babylon, name and remnant, descendants and posterity, declares the Lord. And I will make it a possession of the hedgehog, and a pool of water, and I will sweep it with the broom of destruction, declares the Lord of hosts. The Lord of hosts has sworn, as I have planned, so shall it be, and as I have purposed, so shall it stand, that I will break the Assyrian in my land, and on my mountains trample them underfoot. And his yoke shall depart from them, and his burden from their shoulder. This is the purpose that is purposed concerning the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out over all the nations. For the Lord of hosts has proposed purpose, and who will annul it? And his hand is stretched out, and he will turn it back. In the year that King Ahaz died, came this oracle: Rejoice not, O Philistia, all of you, that the rod that struck you is broken. For from the serpent's root will come forth an adder, and his fruit will be a flying fiery serpent. And the firstborn of a poor will graze, and the needy lie down in safety. And I will kill your root with famine, In your remnant it will slay. Wail, O gate, cry out, O city. Melt in fear, O Philistine, all of you. The smoke comes from the north, and there is no straggler in its ranks. Will all one answer, messengers of the nation. The Lord has found his eye, and in the afflicted of his people find refuge. An oracle concerning Moab. Because of Moab is laid waste in the night, or Moab is under. Because Curb Moab is laid waste in the night, Moab is under. He is gone up to his temple, to the temple, and to Dibon, and to the high places to weep. Over Nebo and over Medeba, and Moab wails. On every head is baldness, every beard is shown. In the streets they wear sackcloth. In the housetops and in the squares everyone wails and melts in tears. Heshbon and Elealeh cry out. Their voices heard as far as Jahaz. Therefore the armed men of Moab cry aloud. His soul trembles. My heart cries out for Moab. Her fugitives flee to Zoar, to Eglath-Shelishiah. For at the ascent of Luhith they go up weeping. On the road to Horonaim they raise a cry of destruction. The waters of Nimrim are a desolation. The grass is withered, the vegetation fails, the greenery is no more. Therefore the abundance they have gained and what they have laid up, they carried away over the brook of the waters. Her cry is gone around the land of Moab, and her wailing reaches Eglaim. Her wailing reaches to Beer-Elim. For the waters of Dibon are full of blood, for I will bring upon Dibon even more. Land for those of Moab who escape, for the remnant of the land. Send the lamb to the rule of the land, from Selah by way of the desert, to the mouth of the daughter of Zion. Clean birds like a scattered nest, so are the daughters of Moab, who at the fords of the Arnon. And give counsel, grant justice. Make your shade like night, at the height of noon. Shelter the outcast. Do not reveal the fugitive. And let the outcast of Moab sojourn among you. Be a shelter to them from the destroyer. When the oppressor is no more, and destruction is seized, and he tramples underfoot his banishment land, then the throne will be established in steadfast love, and on it will sit in faithfulness. In the tent of David, one who judges and seeks justice and is swift to do righteousness. You've heard of the pride of Moab, and how proud he is, and of his arrogance, his pride and his insolence. Of his idle boasting he is not right. Therefore let Moab wail for Moab. Let everyone wail Moab, mourn, utterly stricken, for the raisin cakes of Kirheshus, for the fields of Heshbon languish, and the vine of Sibmah. And the lords of the nations have struck down its branches, which reached to Jazer, and strayed to the desert. Its shoes spread abroad and passed over the sea. Therefore I will weep with the weeping of Jazer, for the vine of Sibmah. I drench you with my tears. O Heshbon and Elealeh, for over your summer fruit and your harvest the shout has ceased, and joy and gladness are taken away from the fruitful field. And in the vineyards no songs are sung, no cheers are raised. No treader treads out wine in the presses. I have put an end to the shouting. Therefore my inner parts moan like a lyre for Moab, in myself for Kirheshus. And when Moab presents himself, when he wears himself on the high place, when he comes to the sanctuary to pray, he will not prevail. This is the word that the Lord spake concerning Moab in the past. But now the Lord has spoken, saying, in 3 years, like the years of a high water, the glory of Moab will be brought into contempt. Israel all is great multitude, and those who remain will be very few and feeble. And Proverbs 30. The words of Agur son of Jacob, the oracle. The man declares, I am weary of God, and worn out. Surely I am too stupid to be of man, and I have not the understanding of a man. I have not learned wisdom, and nor have I knowledge of the Holy One. Who has ascended to heaven and come down? Who has gathered the wind in his fist? Who has wrapped up the waters in a garment? Who has established all the ends of the earth? What is his name? And what is his son's name? Surely you know. Every word of God proves true. He is a shield to those who take refuge in him. Do not add to his words, lest he rebuke you and you be found alive. 2 things I ask of you. Deny them not to me before I die. Remove far from me falsehood and lying. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food that is needful for me. Lest I be poor and deny you, and say, Who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal, and profane the name of my God. Do not slander a servant to his master, lest he curse you, and you be held guilty. There are those who curse their fathers, and do not bless their mothers, but there are those who are clean in their own eyes, but are not washed with their filth. There are those how lofty are their eyes, how high their eyelids lift. And those teeth are teeth like swords, whose fangs are knives, devour the poor from off the earth, and are needy from among mankind. The leech's 2 daughters give and give, and their things are never satisfied. Forces never say enough. Sheol, the barren womb, the land never satisfied with water, and the fire that never says enough. The eye that mocks a father and scorns to obey a mother, and will be picked up by the ravens of the valley and eaten by the vultures. 3 things are too wonderful for me, for I do not understand. The way of an eagle in the sky, the way of a serpent on the rock, the way of a ship on the high seas, the way of a man with a bird. This is the way of an adulteress. She eats and wipes her mouth, and says, I have done no wrong. And the 3 things the earth trembles, and a fool it cannot bear of, a slave when he becomes king, and a fool when he is filled with food. An unloved woman when she gets a husband, and a maidservant when she disposes her mistress. 4 things on earth are small, but they are exceedingly wise. The ants are a people not strong, yet they provide their food in the summer. The rock badgers are a people not mighty, yet they make their homes in the cliffs. The locusts have no king, yet all of them march on one. The lizard you can take in your hands, yet it is in kings' palaces. 3 things are stately in their stride, 4 stately in their stride. The lion, which is mightiest among beasts, and doesn't back before any. The running rooster, the he-goat, and the king whose army is with him. If you have been foolish exalting yourself, or if you have been devising evil, put your hand on your mouth. For pressing milk produces curds, pressing the nose produces blood, and pressing anger produces strife. Psalm 6. O Lord, rebuke me not in your anger, nor discipline me in your wrath. Be gracious to me, O Lord, for I am languishing. Heal me, O Lord, for my bones are troubled. My soul also is greatly troubled. But you, O Lord, how long? Turn, O Lord, deliver my life. Save me from the sake of your steadfast love. For in death there is no remembrance of you. In Sheol who will give you praise. I am weary with my moaning. Every night I flood my bed with tears. I drench my couch with my weeping. My eye wastes away because of grief. It grows weak because of all my foes. Depart from me, all your workers of evil. For the Lord has heard the sound of my weeping. The Lord has heard my plea. The Lord accepts my prayer. All my enemies shall be ashamed and greatly troubled. They shall turn back and be put to shame in a moment. Now this done, I shall now do the Lord's prayer. These my heads, our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we receive forgiven our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.